Oh, look at that wheel spin. Oh my. 20. Wow. 17 miles an hour. That is a top 5 number right there. That is insanely fast. The back wheel lifted up. Just keeping up with traffic. No problems. Just gotta watch out for the turns at this point. Slow down around turns. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we are on one of the most powerful e-bikes with the longest range I've ever tested. The Aniioki A8 Promax dual motor. Power peaks well over 3,000 watts. Top speed is over 40 miles an hour. 60 amp hour, 52 volt battery. Dual suspension, front air shock. This thing seemingly has everything. Aniioki seems to have just given you guys everything on this bike, including a giant front disc brake rotor to help with stopping, a huge rotor in the back as well, quad piston calipers, a full twist throttle, a nice looking display, which I did adjust to make even better. I'll tell you guys how I did that later in today's video. If you guys want to check out this bike, it is listed in the description below, along with any coupon codes or discounts that I could offer. This bike constantly goes on sale and constantly comes bundled with a lot of different upgrades like a rear basket, a front air fork, and Aniioki did tell me when I was talking with them that if you guys use the link in the description below, you will get those upgrades, a free air fork upgrade and a free rear basket. Using that link won't cost you anything extra, and it does help support the channel. And it's going to help pay for modding this bike, because I am going to start modifying this bike, turning it into like a chopper cruiser. I've already installed a Michow mirror. I had to do a little bit of drilling to make this fit. I'll make a separate video on how I made this mirror fit, because it wasn't easy. And it is getting colder in New England, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is put on these heated gloves that this one company sent to me. I have no idea how to pronounce the name. Xuanmeigr. These are going to be linked in the description below, along with a bunch of other accessories like my phone mount, this mirror. And these are pretty cool. You go ahead and hold the on button, and it automatically starts in high mode. We're going to bring it down to the lowest mode, which is green, so we can keep our hands nice and toasty, because it is getting colder. All right, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and do our 0 to 20 test first, throttle only. Here we go, 3, 2, 1, boom. Oh, look at that wheel spin. Oh my. 20. Wow. Wow. I want to do that again. That was wild. Here we go. Let's do that again. Wait for the speedometers to zero out. There we go. 3, 2, 1. Go. A little bit less spin there. 20. That's wild. This thing has a ton of power. And I did ride around to make sure that the speedometer was more or less in sync with the GPS speed. The wheel size, in the settings, I adjusted the wheel size to 20 and then to 18 and then something higher, and 20 seemed to be the best. All right, we're going to go ahead and do our main hill climb test and see how this bike performs. Here we go, throttle only, 3, 2, 1, boom. Lots of wheel spin. Look at that, we're already at 20. Wow. Wow. Okay. All right. We are crossing over at 30 miles an hour. Holy. All right, so next we're going to go ahead and do our downhill speed test. And as always, let's check out the free spinning wheel speed. We'll switch it to rear motor. Here we go. Pedal assist level 5. Wow. Look at that. The speedometer gets to 54. That is very, very fast. Bring it back to dual motor. The front wheel just, it's wild. I think there's a way to adjust the front wheel starting strength, and we'll check that out in a second. But let's check out the downhill speed. Look at that. 43 miles an hour going downhill. This thing rips. In fact, it rips so hard. I'm going to bring it down to pedal assist 2 while we head over to our steep hill. Even that's too fast. Wow. Bring it down to level 1 while we head over to our steep hill climb test. This is going to be a big video. I'm recording multiple videos in one ride, We're doing an off-road test. We're doing a range test. We're obviously doing the review ride. We're going to be talking about a lot on today's ride. But for this video, you guys are just going to see the initial review of this bike. If you guys hear a little bit of brake rotor rub, that front brake rotor is tough to get perfectly adjusted, so we'll do our best with that. Maybe we'll fix that later. But, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's go ahead and test out the steep hill climb test. Throttle only, level 5. We are on the blue setting for both wheels. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Got to slow it down a little bit before we hit the turn so I don't wipe out. Here we go. Okay, 17 miles an hour. Okay, those are some record-breaking numbers. That is a top 5 number right there. That is insanely fast for a stock e-bike that you buy off the shelf. That is wild. And now we'll go ahead and do our 20 mile an hour brake test. Here we go. Oh, wow. Okay, this bike is seriously impressive. That is one of the shortest distances that any bike has ever gotten for my brake test. And this is one of the heaviest bikes I've ever tested. And I think it stopped in that distance because of this gigantic front brake rotor, which, honestly, this bike does need big brakes. It needs a very big, good braking system. And, yeah, that delivers. This thing is just... This is one of the most impressive bikes I've ever tested. We're going to roll on down to our top speed testing site next. Let's do that brake test again, because that was wild. The back wheel lifted up. Okay. All right. Brakes, check. This thing is crazy. So the front motor does start you off very strong, to the point where you do have to be careful during acceleration around corners. Like I said, I think there is a soft start setting in the display. We're going to check that out in a little bit. For now, we're going to just ride this bike around with the out-of-the-box power settings and see how things go. Sometimes when I'm headed over to the top speed testing site, I like to conserve battery life. With this bike, I'm not worried about that at all. This thing has such a big battery. 60 amp hours is just wild. It's just crazy. You'll have a lot of battery for a very long time. This is one of those bikes where the rider will give up first before the bike, especially if you aren't a speed demon. All right, we're nearing our top speed testing site. Let's go ahead and bring it up to pedal assist 5, dual motor. Let's see where we end up. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Gotta watch out for that throttle. All right, full throttle. Pedal up to speed, tuck down, see where we end up. All right, 38, 39, give me 40. Come on, 4. All right, we're at 40. All right, speedometer shows 42. All right, so we hit 40, going one way. Let's see what we get on the way back. Pedal up to speed, tuck down. All right, we hit 40 again. Nice. Can we go faster? Oh, all right, so this is a solid 40 mile an hour bike. If you're a little bit lighter, maybe if it's a little bit warmer, maybe you'll get 41, 42. 40 miles an hour on an e-bike at 52 volts with the smaller diameter wheels. That's great. That's very good. Okay, so now that we got the tests out of the way, I would like to adjust the starting strength of this bike. As impressive as it is to constantly do front wheel burnouts, as cool as it might seem on camera, it's actually very annoying while riding a bike, because you never know when this bike is just gonna fly out from underneath you if you lose traction. So we're gonna go ahead and go into the settings, which you could do by just holding the left button. And by the way, this whole control panel, I did end up over tightening and it snapped. It didn't take much tightening at all, but I put a bunch of zip ties on here. That's why those are there. So I'm going to ask Aniioki for a new one like this, and yeah, we'll test out their customer service. Anyway, you hold the left button, slow start mode. Right now we're at 0, and our options are 0, 1, 2, 3. Back down to 0. Let's try 3. Okay, so we're at slow start mode 3. Still peels out at level 5. What about level 2? Still peels out. Level 1. Yeah, tiny bit of peel out. What if we go ahead and switch the riding modes? Let's switch it to blue. 2 blue wheels. Level 1 peels out. It's interesting. Level 2 did not peel out. 3. Peel out. Alright, so we're still peeling out. That's odd. Let's go back to the settings. Slow start mode. So we are at 3, and we were at 0 before. Let's try 1. Okay. Yeah, we're still peeling out. I don't know what that slow start mode does, but we're still peeling out, ladies and gentlemen. A good amount. I'm not sure if we'll be able to fix that. Alright, so we're in a setting now that says Gear Detail PM. And before I mess all these settings up, we're going to go ahead and take a picture of it. Level 1 is at 18%, level 2, 38, level 3, 58, 76%, level 4 and level 5 is 100. And it looks like you can get all the way up to 9 pedal assist levels. Let's try this out. We're going to bring level 1 down to 10% and level 2 to 20%. Okay. Level 3 is going to be 30%. Okay. And level 4 is 76%, level 5 is 100. We'll keep that as is. Those will be considered our high speed levels, and level 1 through 3 are going to be considered our low speed levels. Let's test them out. Here we go. Level 1, 5 miles an hour. Level 2 is now 2 miles an hour. But, yeah, we still get a burnout. Level 3 is 15 miles an hour. I think I'm going to keep it like that because those are good low-speed settings in case you're on a pedestrian trail and you just want to pedal nice and slow. So right now, we're at 10 miles an hour, very slow cadence, just hanging out. And if you really want to crawl, you could bring it down to 5 miles an hour. And this is just crawling. But sometimes this is the speed that you want if you're around pedestrians. So it looks like those adjustments don't adjust how much acceleration you get. All they do is give you a certain percentage of the top speed. So it seems like we're going to be stuck with that wheel spin. You guys let me know in the comments below if I'm missing some type of setting. It doesn't seem like the slow start setting does anything. Let's test out the top speed of when the 2 wheels in the display are blue, because before it was green. Let's see what we get. Pedal up to speed. Alright, so honestly, it looks the same. It looks like we're probably going to hit the same speed. I just didn't want to run into this bus. But we're going to try it out on the way back as well. These brakes, they're just amazing. Alright, here we go. Pedal up to speed. Yeah, top speed seems to be the same. And now we're going to do a little mini off-road test. And you guys already know what's going to happen. This much power with dual motors, a front air fork, dual suspension in the back. Even though this isn't really an off-roading bike, for terrain like this, we'll do just fine. Grass with small bumps. This is probably the most you guys are going to do with a bike like this. It's a pretty heavy bike, so I wouldn't recommend taking it off of any jumps or drops. You'd probably break the frame. Look at this. Yeah, we're just cruising. We're flying. I do hear some type of rattling from the front. I don't know what that is, but it's pretty minor. Ah, we just hit a big bump. Is that the battery? That might be the battery. Yeah, I think I'll be able to tighten that up if I put some type of like strip of rubber or felt tape underneath. We might be able to tighten that up. That's not a big deal. That is easily fixable. But besides that, we're just dominating this mini off-road test. We're going to head over to our grassy field area next. Look at this. I could just jump right into traffic and go almost 40 miles an hour and feel totally comfortable. Yep, there it is. 40 miles an hour. Easy. 41. Look at that. 41. That's wild. We could just take up the lane, honestly. There's no point in staying off to the side. What's nice about having the torque of dual motors, a lot of single motor bikes, they might be able to go fast, but as soon as you encounter any kind of hill, there is a big decrease in speed. Whereas this, with 2 motors and this much power, you won't really notice a significant drop. So for example, we're going slightly downhill now, and we're going up this mild hill right here. Let's see what speed we get. So we obviously slowed down, but not by much. Most other bikes would get down into the 20 mile an hour range, and for this one, we still maintain 30 something. Crossing on over into our grassy field area. This is very overgrown. I don't even know where I'm going to cross. Here we go. This is electric! Look up the law! Look it up! Look up the law! Alright, this guy is screaming at us. We're gonna come back here at a different time. So we're gonna give that guy some time to chill out and maybe leave the field. For now, we're gonna head over to our secondary off-road testing site, where we're gonna make another video on how this bike does on a little off-road trail. Check this out. Flying. So it seems like the speedometer is off by more than just a few miles an hour at higher speeds, but we're still cruising, ladies and gentlemen. We're pretty much at the speed limit, 35. We can maintain 35 even going up slight hills, and that is the beauty of having the dual motors. Once again, I can tell we're going up a slight incline right now, and we're going 38. Alright guys, so we're gonna head over to this off-road trail, and that's gonna be a different video. See you guys on the way back from that trail.
A few moments later.
Going downhill, we could easily hit 45. Feeling pretty stable at this speed. So we're headed back from our off-roading test right now. Easily keeping up with traffic. Look at that, hitting 46. And I know these motors can top out at 50 something. So if you want some serious downhill speed, this bike will give it to you. All right, speeding back up. Just hang out with traffic, no problem. Look at this. Wow, 43 miles an hour. Just keeping up with traffic, no problems. Just gotta watch out for the turns at this point. Slow down around turns. All right, so we're back in our field. Looks like the angry gentleman from before is gone. I did change the setting in the display to show me voltage on my battery. We're at 55.7 volts, so still pretty much full. And I want to see how this bike does on our grassy field hill climb area. It did make it in my initial ride, although we were at half charge. I would like to see what a full charge looks like. Do you hear that battery slapping around? We're going to have to fix that at some point. All right, start at the base. Look at that. Those are my tracks from earlier. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Wheel spin. Oh, so much wheel spin. Come on. All right. We made it. You know what I'm going to do? Is try that out again. Leaning forwards. All right. Start at the base. We're going to get moving, and then I'm going to lean forwards. 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah. A little bit less wheel spin, but we still made it just fine. And that was with both motors on the green setting. I don't know if blue is going to be any better. Let's try it out. Very tall grass. Yeah, blue seems to give us a tiny bit less power, maybe. We almost made it, and I think we would have made it. But officially, this bike was able to conquer this steep, grassy field hill area, which is a very steep and very grassy hill. Probably would have gone a little bit faster if the grass was shorter. All right, let's head on out. Continue on the review. And before we continue the video, let's head back inside into the MCHQ, where we're going to talk about the specs and components and the display settings of this bike. See you guys in a bit. For handlebar grips, we have this kind of flat textured, flat pattern, rubberized handlebar grips. These feel okay. I would have preferred to see ergonomic handlebar grips on a long-range bike like this. The bike does come with its own mirrors in the box, and these mirrors do look great. They have this carbon fiber pattern up top. They do stick out, however, a little bit up top. Just not my favorite style. I want something a little bit more minimalist, so I went the bar end side mirror, and I will have a video on how to install this if you're interested in doing the same thing. Link to this mirror in the description below. For brakes, we get Mafia branded hydraulic disc brake levers. These do have a very cool color on them. By the way, if you guys see some zip ties right here, that's because the clip that holds the control panel broke so easily. I was tightening it up and it just snapped. So we're going to test out customer service and see how long it takes to get a new bracket for this control panel. Now I do want to show you what all of this does right here, but first we have to turn the bike on. And in order to do that, you can only turn the bike on using one of the two remotes that this bike comes with. The keys are only there to remove the battery. So to turn the bike on, you press this little lightning bolt symbol twice. You hear the beeping sound, and there she is. This is a light switch, but what this does is it switches from high beam to low beam. So first you have to turn the light on by holding the up button. There we go. And then the switch will switch from high beam to low beam. Low beam, high beam. This bike also has turn signals, which only show up on the rear. And a horn button. Pretty loud. This bike does come with a rear light. And when you do hit the brake lever, it doesn't just light up, it actually blinks. Here's what it looks like when it's off. As for this display, we're gonna get to this in a second. Typical Mickey Mouse style Shimano 7-speed shifter. And with this bike, you get a full twist throttle. Moving on down, you've got these fairly tall handlebars. These are gonna give you a very nice upright riding position, which I personally really do like. Moving on down, here's that light that we were talking about earlier, and this is where the horn comes out of. I like the coloring of this front fork, and by the way, this is an upgraded air fork that is optional on this bike. This thing is fantastic. It does give you a lot of travel, a lot of adjustability. You've got your compression and lockout adjustment right here. And up here, there's a cap that says air, where when you take this off, you can add some more air into this fork. Not a whole lot of clearance right here, so you're gonna have to adjust the handlebars, get that out of the way in order to add more air, unless you have some type of a low profile nozzle that can fit in this small area. Tighten that back down. Moving on down, we do get plastic fenders in the front and in the rear. Let's just go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room. Look at this brake rotor. This brake rotor is literally the size of a dinner plate. Look at these nice floral patterns. Obviously, this front disc rotor is excessive. There's no way you're gonna need this size disc brake rotor, although it does look ridiculously awesome. It definitely will help with heat dissipation. Since there's more metal in the rotor, it's not gonna heat up as fast, which means your brake pads are gonna stay cooler and work better. And of course, the larger the rotor, the more leverage the brake pads have to stop the front wheel. Aniioki does include special washers in the front fork to make sure this motor and axle stay put and don't spin out or break the front dropout. And for calipers, we have this cool looking red quad piston brake caliper, which you do also get in the back, but the back does come with a slightly smaller brake rotor, at least compared to the front. This thing is still huge. I think it's over 200 millimeters. For tires, you do get almost like this all-terrain, very nice looking, extra thick feeling 20 by 4 inch knobbies. These look like they are great for the road and for mild off-roading. And these are branded Black Cat. These look similar to a popular tire that a lot of people are using right now that are extra durable and extra thick, perfect for these heavier long-range e-bikes. Moving on back, we've got the frame, which essentially is a huge battery compartment. In here, you'll find the giant 60 amp hour 52 volt battery. Charge port right up front. And to remove the battery, you simply put the key in, turn the key. It's gonna unlock the battery, and then you can just lift this right out. And this is a very big, very heavy battery. I think it weighs somewhere around 30 pounds. Here's some information on the bottom of the battery in case you guys are interested. And with this huge battery, you do also get a nice 8 amp charger. So put the battery back in, you slide the back in place, drop the front in, you hear a beep, that way you know it's locked in, and you're good to go. Don't forget to take the key out. Look at this, so the cables on the front are all routed underneath the frame, giving it a nice clean appearance. This bike comes with this bench seat, which is on the wider side, and it is nice and squishy. Let's take a look at what the controller looks like. So it looks like there are two controllers in here, one for the rear, one for the front, and both of these controllers peak at 30 amps. So that means that each one of these motors is gonna give you, at the nominal 52 volts, about 1560 watts. When this 52 volt battery is charged up to about 58.5 volts, these motors together are gonna output about 3,500 watts. That's a lot. Moving on down, we've got this big, beefy, and adjustable kickstand. This bike has dual suspension in the back that is adjustable. And even though the suspension isn't the most premium, it does get the job done. In the back, you do get a very thick and robust looking rear rack. And as you can tell, I did already attach the cargo basket, which you can attach the short way or the long way. I prefer to attach it the long way, and I did move this back a bit also to give me extra seating room in case I want to move in the back. I'm not going to be bumping up against the rear basket. In the back, you do get a Shimano 7-speed transmission with a Shimano Tourney derailleur, no derailleur guard. Check this out, guys. This bike has double-walled wheels. This is the second bike I've seen that has double-walled wheels. These wheels are going to be much stronger than single-walled wheels, and I think that's probably necessary considering this bike is a very, very heavy bike, especially if you put cargo in the back. This is kind of a nice touch. I've been seeing this more and more. They put a small white mark with a marker to show you if this nut is loose and turning. That way you'll know if these lines are misaligned, this needs to be tightened. And over here we've got a larger size chainring.
Here's what I look like on the bike at the lowest seat position. As you can see, it's easy to get on and off the bike, and this is where I like to keep the seat because it gives me the most upright riding position and it makes it easy to reach the ground with my feet. Increasing the seat height will give you plenty of room to extend your legs for a better pedaling experience.
So this display gives you the usual speedometer, pedal assist level, trip distance, odometer, time the bike has been running, and the current time. Now on the sides, it says how much power each motor is using. I'm not really looking at these. Number one, they're not all that accurate. Number two, the text is kind of small. It does show you how many watts each motor is using. Again, doesn't seem to be all that accurate. And to change which motor is being used, you simply tap the M button once. We go from rear motor to front motor to dual motor. This is full power, and then dual motor eco mode with 2 green wheels. And to get to the advanced settings, you hold the left and right buttons. Once you do that, advanced settings show up. Let's go into system settings, information display. You can switch from trip to odometer. Let's keep it at odometer. You can change the clock, power display. Here's where I changed it to voltage because before it was at battery percentage. So we'll keep it at voltage. Auto time off, so how long the bike is on without you touching it. Backlight brightness, we're gonna keep that at 100. And then of course, kilometers an hour or miles an hour. Obviously we're in America, so we'll keep it at miles an hour. It says inch or metric, interesting. We'll keep it at inches, ladies and gentlemen. You can also include a power on password if that's something you want. Let's go into the general display. Going into the general settings, current limit, you can't really adjust that in the settings. It's kind of preset in the controller. Motor measurement, don't touch this. That's usually how the motor senses how fast it's going. Speed limit, go ahead and bring that all the way up. The highest this goes is 81 kilometers an hour. We're obviously going to keep it as high as it goes. Voltage, don't touch that. The wheel diameter, you can adjust the accuracy of the speedometer. Gear detail PWM. Here's where you can adjust how intense each pedal assist level is. So for example, if you have 9 pedal assist levels, here's what it'll look like. So I only have 5. I have 5 set at 100%. 4 at 76, and I actually did adjust this. 3, 2, and 1 are much lower power settings for if I have to be around pedestrians. 4 and 5 are obviously if I'm on the roads with traffic and I need to go real quick. Assistance gear, here's where you can choose how many pedal assist levels you want. Slow start mode. So for slow start mode, I tried all of these and it seemed like all of them were pretty much the same. I don't know if this does anything. Assistance direction, don't touch that unless you want to go backwards. And then you get some basic product information right here and some battery information here as well. And when I press the button, it doesn't seem to do anything.
Something else I wanted to show you guys is the ability to use this big battery, this 3,120 watt-hour battery for anything. So right here, what we have is the Aniioki inverter, right? You can buy this from their website. And what I'm doing right now, you guys are gonna love this. I am currently charging my bike with solar panels. These are portable solar panels, so I'm collecting energy from the sun, free energy. I'm charging my e-bike, and at the same time, I'm running this household fan, right? There's just a fan I got from my house. So currently, the fan is pulling 20 watts of power, not a lot, but allegedly, according to the specs of this, you can in theory pull a total of 1,000 watts from this inverter. And while we're doing that, we're also charging the battery. If I turn the fan off, it's gonna charge up even faster, of course. Notice how the watts went down. But that's amazing, guys. So let's say you're in a situation where you lose power and you need to run something. At least charge your cell phones, use basic things, whatever it might be. If you have portable solar panels, you can use that easily to charge this giant battery and have a little battery bank. So when I say this bike has everything, I'm not exaggerating. It has everything. You could even use this to power your appliances if you get the Aniioki inverter. I don't know about you guys, but I think that's awesome. Welcome back, guys, to the ride. Let's see how the suspension does on the Sidewalk of Doom. Right now, I know that the battery does rattle around a little bit, so that's pretty much the only thing we're gonna hear. But in terms of the suspension feel, the back does feel nice. I don't feel that it's bottoming out. I do also feel the front fork putting in work, although there isn't a whole lot of weight being put on the front of the bike. Just because this has a kind of an upright seating position, I feel it doing its job. It is absorbing a lot of the bumps. Not the best suspension I've ever tested, but definitely not the worst. The seat on this bike, I'm sure you guys are probably familiar with. It's a wider, almost like a bench seat. It's decently comfortable. I've seen some people put some type of like a motorcycle pad on top, which makes it a little bit more comfortable. The seating position itself is more upright, so more of your weight will be on that seat versus the handlebars. The handlebar grips do feel nice. I've never seen these on any other e-bike before, although if you notice, this is a full twist throttle right here. Love it or hate it, that's what you get. I had to remove this entire thing in order to take the cap off so I could install the mirror, and that was a little bit of a process. I'll show you guys how to do that later. The display on this bike is nice. It is on the newer side. I've never seen this display on other e-bikes before. And in the display settings, you can also make it show you your voltage. So I always love it when the display shows you the watts that you're using and the voltage that your battery is currently at. And obviously this shows you your pedal assist levels, which you can adjust in the settings all the way up to 9. This is set to 5. Speedometer and which drive mode you're in. Front motor, rear motor, dual motor, eco, or full power. The horn on this bike, nice and loud, gets people's attention. This bike also has rear turn signals. No indicator on the front showing you if the turn signal is on or not. I wish there were some type of an indicator, because on my last initial review ride, I had my left blinker on the whole time and I didn't even know. So once you turn the light on by holding the top arrow button, you can switch high beam or low beam. Pretty nice. And normally here's where I would show you guys the different pedal assist levels, but I'm not going to do that because I did adjust them in the settings. I did make my level 1 to be extremely slow, if you guys watch this. And the throttle, by the way, it cuts you off at the same level. So right now, my first pedal assist level, going up this hill at least, is 4. Going on flat ground, it's 5. Level 2 for me is 10. And for me, level 3 is 15. And as you could tell, when you get to the next level, when you press the button, it does abruptly want to bring you up to that next level. Because we're in dual motor mode, if we were in single motor mode, it'd be a lot less jarring. So right now we're in level 1. It's a little bit better. And level 3. Still fairly abrupt, but definitely better. So if you want a soft start on this bike, you really do have to keep it in rear motor. Otherwise, it's just going to catapult you. It's going to peel out that front wheel. Watch this. Watch this. We're on level 3 throttle. Still peeling out. And with both wheels green, we just still peel out. Something that I have noticed about these display buttons is that there is a significant delay between when I press the button to when it changes something in the settings. So for example, we're at level 5 now. If I want to go down to 4, press, then it switches. Press, then it switches. So there's definitely a delay, and that does take some getting used to. It's almost like using some kind of old computer or old phone or old device. You press a button and it has to think a little bit before switching to the next setting. It does take some getting used to. I would like it if Aniioki made this a little bit more responsive, because that is a significant delay. Press, now it switches. Press, now it switches. Press 2. Here's how you can tell. Right now I'm level 2. You guys are going to watch me press, and then when the bike does accelerate, that's when it knows we're in level 3. Okay, so we're in 2 now. Watch me. Press. Then
Now it switches. Press. Now we go. Slight delay as well in the throttle, both in acceleration and when it cuts off the throttle. So for a split second when I let go, there's still a little bit of throttle. Very, very minor, and you will get used to it if you get this bike, but it's worth mentioning. We're gonna now go up this big, long hill. Most bikes that I try on this hill struggle the entire time. And as you could tell, this bike is seemingly accelerating up this hill. Alright, here we go. Bring it up to level 5. Yeah, we're holding a steady 25 miles an hour going up this kind of steep, long hill. So if you got hills in the area, you want this kind of bike. Dual motor power. So that's it for the review of the Aniioki A8 Promax dual motor. You guys let me know what you think of this bike in the comments below. I think it is one of the most savage e-bikes ever. Tons of power, tons of battery, tons of brakes, lots of suspension, lots of nice features on the display. This thing is amazing. And if you do want to save some money and help support the channel, check out the link in the description below. It will help this channel at no extra cost to you. And like I said, according to Aniioki, you do also get that free air fork and basket upgrade. I am going to continue riding this bike right now and do a mini range test for you guys. Right now we're at 20 miles. I'm going to try and get this bike to 50 miles and we'll check what the voltage of the battery is. But that's going to be in another video, so stay tuned for that, along with a little off-road trail video as well. Because I know a lot of you guys are interested in this bike, so I want to do a good amount of testing so you guys really know what you're going to be buying if you get this bike. So that's it for today's video. Until next time.